What is going on, my Patriots? How y'all guys doing? Welcome to another edition of, you guessed it, Joel Davis Media Network Live. It's your host, Joel Davis, in my new creative office. Enjoying saying that to all you guys. If it's your first time tuning in, do me a favor. Go ahead on and hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell up top. Please like and share. Please like and share. Now, without further ado, y'all know who this man is. He's been on the YouTube space for a hot minute. He's one of my major mentors that inspired me to start doing the channel. You can catch him all day, every day, 6 days a week on YouTube and Rumble and on Locals, and also a channel with his boy Gideon talking about stop the fuckery. We ain't got to give you no introduction. This man is legendary of his own, up here beating down liberals verbally day in and day out. My man, Jericho Green. Let's give
What's
that
up?
man some love.
I appreciate that to a roaring crowd. What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Hey, Jericho loves the kids, man.
Man, it's been a while. Me and Jericho ain't did a stream about 6 months, y'all. This is how crazy it's been. Man, Jericho, how is life, brother? I mean, wow, a lot has happened in 6 months since last time we streamed.
Yeah, man, all is well. The family's good, so everything else is secondary to that. Everybody's healthy,
Okay.
everybody's doing well. Like I was telling you before we got on, I'm going to be starting a new channel on YouTube, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be changing some things in the studio, the equipment. So big things coming. But I'm glad to see you got a studio now, man. I'm glad to see you got it because you need a space where you can create. Every mad scientist needs their laboratory, so you
Yeah,
need
of course.
a quiet space where you can make shit happen. So glad to see it.
Yeah, that is the truth. You ain't lying. Yeah, I did a lot of upgrades, man. I kind of took you in B Tatum's advice. I went out here, got me a better laptop. I did that before I moved out from the old place. Invested in some decent headsets, surround sound, extra screen. So yeah, man, it's coming together. Now I'm starting to get my merch out there finally. It's slowly picking up. It's not where I
Yeah,
wanted it to be, but it's getting there. But yeah, man, I'm getting inspired by you guys every day, man. You and B Tatum and my boy ABL. I get people all the time asking me, when are y'all gonna do the legendary streams where you got ABL, you, and Black Conservative Perspective all on the same platform? I said,
yeah,
man, it's crazy. We all got crazy schedules, families. Some people get married, some people trying to enjoy their life. We
yeah.
we gonna try to make it do what it do, man.
A
That's
lot of
all we
moving
can do.
parts. A lot of moving parts, man. But yeah, to get us together, man, that would be the super friends right there.
Yeah. So so the night show, guys, y'all know how me and Jericho do. We just roll into stuff. We don't plan this. This is all freestyle. We are going to talk about what's going on with the Trump indictments tonight. We
Hmm.
also going to touch base about what's going on with Jamie Foxx. And yes, we're gonna bring up about that Lizzo gate, aka Banana Gate. Yeah, we gotta talk about
Uh,
Banana Gate.
yeah. So not even
Oh my
monkey.
God, Banana Gate. We're gonna
Nope.
talk about that, and we're gonna also just talk about how I'm gonna let Jericho lead that story about Chicago having buyer's remorse, not only with Brandon Johnson, but also with all these migrants coming into their neighborhood. It's all fun and game until people start taking away your livelihood. So we're gonna
Hmm.
touch all that. We got an hour with Jericho tonight. I really got an hour too because it's my anniversary weekend. But my wife was so excited when she heard that I got reached out to Jericho. She's like, "Go get Jericho."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "Oh my god!" I said, "Jericho making me a little jelly over here, but it's all good."
Hey man, yeah, you gotta
Jericho
you go
getting
as
up
soon
a
as you're
love
done
and
here,
push.
you gotta go celebrate. Yeah, man.
So we gonna do this 45 minutes to an hour touching on these topics, and then we are going to bounce. First things first, we're gonna talk about the Trump indictment. Jericho, I know you've been following this as well. And shout out to Bob for the $10 super chat before I start. He says, "Fuck that. Let's support this man with money. I appreciate you." Like
Yeah.
Jericho said, support your favorite content creator. That's what keeps us doing what we do. Lisa says, support us. Keep up the good work. I appreciate you
Thank
very much
you.
so, Lisa. I really appreciate it. All this goes right back to what we do best in this studio. So, getting back to um Trump, man.
Hmm.
So right now, a lot of people are upset in the liberal progressives because they're starting to say, okay, you're coming uh, at Trump with so much charges that we may mess around and reelect. I want to get your personal opinion on this, Jericho. Are they making the campaign for Trump stronger each day with all these unnecessary charges?
Yeah, I think that is true, but I think it's also cutting both ways because on one hand, yes, it's helping Trump get back in office. It's galvanizing his base, but it's also galvanizing their base too because for the far left dum dums who don't dabble in research or finding out what's really going on, they're going to hear what the left has to say, all their talking heads, and they're gonna believe that. So Trump, and he doesn't even have to get convicted. They're not even trying to convict him. They don't even want that. They just want him to be indicted. They want him to be arrested. They want his fingerprints. They want his mugshot. That's all they need for their base because they just tell him, look, he's a crook. He's being indicted. Why would indictment? That's such a big, serious word. If you're indicted, you must be guilty. Um, so it's no longer, depending on who it is, it's no longer innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent, especially when it's Trump. So that shit is absolutely ridiculous, but I think there are enough people on the fence. I think there are enough people who might still be Democrats, but they don't like the way things are looking. They don't like the way things are going. They don't like Sloppy Joe. They don't like all this crazy shit that they're pushing. So that might cause them to vote for Trump too. So ultimately, I think it is going to help get Trump back in office. I would say it's 70-30 good for Trump, 70% for Trump, 30% for them. But yeah, the more people that do their homework and the more people that look at what's going on, they're going to see that this is all bullshit. I mean, and there's probably a fourth indictment coming from the state of Georgia. And this
Yeah,
third, they're saying that he colluded with a valet and a property manager to remove some footage and stuff. And man, come on, Trump is a big fish. He doesn't do meetings with the valet and the property manager. Trump has people for that. That bullshit that they indicted him for in New York, improper paperwork. Trump doesn't do paperwork. He doesn't run papers down to the office. He has people for that. He has people that have people that do that kind of shit for him. So it's just ridiculous. But again, they're not targeting a very smart voting group. So they don't need a lot of facts and whatnot. Just accusations.
yeah, and you're right. And here's another thing too that I was thinking about as well, Jericho, because you got a great point. Trump does not do any of this miniature
Mm-mm.
stuff. He has people in place to do it. So I also saw how they attacked his house guy, or they call the property manager of Mar-a-Lago. The guy that followed him from over there from the White House, um, all the way to where he at now. They were like, okay, we're gonna have him, indicted as well. First and foremost, why are you going after him? He's a Yes, he's the chief of the Navy, but he was retired now. That's number one. Number two, he's taking orders from the commander in chief.
Mhm.
So if he was to disrespect those orders of the commander in chief, that's being a direct insubordination. He could lose his chief rank. He could lose his benefits. So, with all said and done, he did what he is supposed to do. You know what I mean? So that's why I got pled not guilty, because to him, he's like everyone else. This is a joke. You're focusing on trying to do this to Trump, but yet still we got Hunter Biden, who we
Mhm.
openly knows has done some of the most disgusting stuff with alleged underage girls, internationally, probably even in this country. As far as sick as this guy is, a drug addict, possibly drugs that was found in the White House. Dad, uh, Joe Biden, had classified documents in the open, not locked up, not secured, by his Corvette in his garage. Anyone could see it at any time. Anybody could be like, "Oh, what these classified documents are." Great. We're not declassified at all. We also got a president who bribed to get someone removed out of the government over there in Ukraine, so that way they could send more money. He could send more money to them to do his bidding. Had his son on the board making 80 grand a month, not knowing a thing about whatever he's supposed to be over. So we see all of this in the open, and nothing is not being done. No investigations. Guys getting slapped on the wrist. But yet still, we're going after Donald J. Trump over some of the pettiness stuff about some documents that he declassified himself.
Mhm.
It was stated he declassified them himself. He can do that. He is the president. And not to mention, too, when we go do a deep dive of January 6th, the bullshit cry of all time. Yes, I said it. I don't care, because that's what I feel. We got all these people being held accountable for that, when at any that there was never time that President Trump encouraged or told anyone to act the fool. This was
Mhm.
all orchestrated by people, I still say, from the far left, that saw an opportunity to act the damn fool. So no, I agree with you 110%. This is more than just a witch hunt. This is if I can get him tied up legally into the rigmarole, we can slow down this campaign to where he can't go all across America and get everybody hyped to vote for him again. But excuse me, jackasses don't understand. You're messing with a man that's worth $2 billion. $2.3 billion. You don't think he didn't see this coming? He doesn't have other sources or other financial ways of going across the country and still getting people motivated? Yes, he does. So, with that being said, you're still making yourself look like a jackass at the end of the day. And I hope that it does come back and bite each and every one of them in the ass. They be the laughing stock of America in history. So that way we can tell our kids, and our kids can tell their kids, this is what happened when you're trying to be more than the next guy.
Yeah, and not only does he have his money of his own, but people are donating to his campaign and donating to his legal defense. And one thing you mentioned, Trump being the president of the United States, he's the only person who can declassify those documents. When Biden got his hand on the documents that were parked next to his car, he was vice president, so he did not have the authority to declassify that information. So he should be in trouble for that alone. But to be honest, I don't really give a shit what documents a former president has. I'm sure they all take shit. And I doubt it's anything. How's anybody going to get their hands on it? Is somebody going to break into Mar-a-Lago? And they told Trump, they went in there and investigated, they inspected. Hey man, you need a different lock on that door to lock that shit up. Okay. So he did, he was compliant with the FBI. He put the proper security on the door. So how is somebody going to get in there? And he probably, him or any other president, isn't going to take no damn nuclear secrets. They'll probably take some cool shit. Oh, this is a meeting that we have, or it was this paper or that paper. But I don't really care. I don't really care if a former president takes papers home. I just don't. I'm sure the information is time sensitive. Anyway, it's probably outdated information, and who gives a shit? If they get caught selling it to China like some other selected officials have, throw the book at them. But to be honest, I can fucking care less what president takes anything home. But the fact that they all have, and the Trump's the only one they're going after, is the bullshit. You think George W. didn't take some papers home, or the exalted one, Barack Obama? But they're not saying shit to them. It's all about Trump, because Trump is the closest thing we'll ever have to a regular, everyday person in the White House. He's a billionaire. The average Joe Schmo don't got it like that, but that's as close as we'll ever get, because he doesn't have the ties to Washington. He's not a career politician. That's why term limits are so important, because if they had term limits, they wouldn't have the time to formulate and cultivate these relationships and get in bed with these foreign entities and these lobbyists. They can't get fat and complacent on the money and influence that they're getting from them. But when you have people there like Biden, Pelosi, and all these other cats, and that goes on the other side of the aisle too. How long has Mitch McConnell been in there? We just saw him reboot live on TV. So term limits would stop a lot of this, but Trump is the bull in their China shop. And he said that if you came after me, I'm coming after you. So I hope when he gets back in office, he's head honey.
Me too. And let me ask you this, Jericho, because I've been wanting to ask you this since this first started. Um, the whole Republican campaign thing, because you got a great mind when it comes to politics on political discussion. You, ABL, Amber, and Brandon. And Brandon, I love talking to y'all guys when I have y'all, on my podcast and stuff. Do you feel like Ron DeSantis? I know everybody. There's a lot of people that likes the guy. I mean, he did a good job in Florida. Never knocking that. And the way he stand up to the parents' rights in Florida, that's great. But do you feel like that once if he was to ever get his foot in the door as president in Washington D.C., that he could be bought?
I think so, but anyone can be bought, I think. But what are they buying him with? Are they buying him with cash? Are they buying him with favors? Because like I mentioned before, getting in bed with lobbyists and foreign entities. It's not always, a stuffed manila envelope under a table in a diner on the outskirts of town. It could be influence. It could be, okay, you pass this law and give us, this contract to build this or whatever. Then come election time, we'll donate to your campaign, or we'll put you on this board, or we'll guarantee you influence over this, maybe something after they get out of office, something to set them up for the rest of their lives. So yeah, you can't buy Trump with money, because he has, fucking shipping containers of it. But DeSantis, maybe. He's not rich like Trump, but by all accounts, and especially not being from Florida, I'm seeing Florida from afar, just like many people see California from afar. But from what I can see, he seems like a pretty stand-up dude. I like what he says. Like you mentioned, he does a great job in Florida. And no matter his flaws, is he better than any Democrat? Yes. So, but what I would like to see in a perfect world, I want to see DeSantis sit this one out, maybe try again in 2028, which looks like he may not sit it out, but he's not going to get the nomination. So hopefully he'll run again 2028. Maybe we'll get 4 more years of Trump, get 4 or 8 years out of DeSantis. That would be cool. But to answer your question, yeah, anybody can be bought.
Yeah, of course. And I think that was the problem with Trump. Trump could be purchased because, again, me and you talked about this many times. Trump came in the position of president with at the time it was $2.8 billion. And no, $3.1 billion. His net worth went down to 2.5. Yeah, $3.1 billion. So you got someone worth $3.1 billion. Whatever you throw at them, they can pretty much buy themselves. Influence? Oh yeah, I can buy that myself. What about? Nah, I got a good looking wife. That's cool. I'm getting any woman I want. Well, Okay, there was nothing they can offer him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why they scared of him. Because if I can't buy you or have something to control you, and you know
Mhm.
how them suits are, they can't control you. You're dangerous because Trump can't be controlled. And that's
That's
why
why
they
they
don't.
hate. That's why they hate
That's
him.
why they
He's
hate him.
uncontrollable. He's a
Yeah.
bull in their china shop, man. He's messing all their shit up, and they can't stop him.
Oh my God, you're right. Now, okay. Another thing I'm gonna ask you because this happened around in your area. I know you've been talking a lot about this. Um, about California having all of this drama with all of these corporations leaving. I know the last time we talked, it was bad, and I think it's gotten even worse now, right? I think it's like you got people leaving left and right. Um, Jericho, do you think that your state of California will ever get the message that they need to do something different because they keep going with the same MO? They keep voting liberal, they keep supporting all these liberal crazy bail reform ideas, and it's causing them to lose money and population at a rapid pace. I mean, do you think it's going to take for it to start hitting Silicon Valley for them to start finally realizing this is a bad idea? I mean, what do you think is going to make them finally see the light that they need to do something different?
Is that even possible? Well, California, like the East Coast, when you're by the water, there's just a certain type of person. Maybe it's in California, it's Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area. You got Hollywood in Southern California. So that's where all the liberal policies are coming from. Even where I used to live by Monterey, that's by the water too. Something about that water. A lot of
Mm,
universities and stuff like that. So that's where you find the cuckoo crazies. That's where you find what I call the granola headed dirt fuckers, is by the water. When you start getting inland, because California is the fifth largest economy in the world for a reason. It's the breadbasket of the world. We're number one for dairy, number one for produce. Everything in your crisper or in your fruit bowl, it probably came from here. Stone fruits, avocados, nuts, celery, onions, lettuce, strawberry, garlic, mushrooms, you name it. It probably comes from California. So I used to live in a town called Salinas, and it had about 160,000 people. And that town alone, that I don't know what you call it, small town, medium sized town, generated like almost $10 billion a year in produce. So California is big, but once you start getting inland to the people that work these fields and who own these farms and the agriculture and stuff like that, where you get to the part of the state where outside of certain buildings and the gas stations and stuff, they got these brushes so they can brush the mud off of their boots before they come in. When you get to places like that where they actually had anti-Obama billboards and stuff in California, that's where shit gets real. That's where you have these red pockets like one that I live in now near Sacramento, where people push back against this shit, we're the ones who get swept up in all the crazies by the water because that's where all the money is. Yes, agriculture is a lot of money, but so is big tech and Hollywood, and that's what's here. Everything, all the apps on your phone come from the Bay Area. PayPal, Google, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now. All the Cash App, all that shit, Google, it all comes from Silicon Valley. So there's tons and tons of money in California. If you take care of the crazies along the coast, California will right itself, and California will be the great state that it was. California was an amazing state up until the 90s. California used to have free health care because we had such a surplus in our budget. So if you get rid of the crazies by the water, yes, California can repair itself. But as long as the San Fran shitholes in Los Angeles, or like I call it, smell big tech and stuff, as long as they're still there voting that way, then California will continue to be lost because the people who make the rules, they don't live under their own policies. And I see someone here, Summer Sky 1100 says, "Hi, can someone explain to me how Gavin Newsom could step in for Joe Biden when Kamala Harris is from California. Also, I thought we couldn't have a president and a vice from the same state. There is no rule or regulation against that. You can have a president and a vice president from the same state. And I think that back when Trump was in office, they were talking the 25th Amendment, right? That's when a president is mentally unfit to be in office and they can be excused. So they started floating that around. And I think they did that so it wouldn't. So when they do it, it's not like, well, it's not like it's out of nowhere. We were talking about it here. We talked about it here. It's not completely unheard of. We talked about it in recent times. So Sloppy Joe, being the way he is, having his mishaps every single day. If he steps down, Kamala Harris obviously becomes president. And then so it goes president, vice president, speaker of the House. So McCarthy, if he doesn't become vice president, then I believe the sitting president, which would be Kamala Harris, can appoint a vice president, and then they have to be voted on. I'm not sure if it's Congress and the Senate, but it'll be voted on. So why would she tap her boy, Gavin Newsom, who was the mayor of San Francisco when she was the DA? They're both from California. Obviously, she was the state senator while he was lieutenant governor. He's governor now. They're homies. They're chums. Why wouldn't she nominate him? And we don't have that big of a lead in Congress. We didn't have no red wave. We had like a red, like if you ever stand on the beach and the wave like comes up to like mid calf, that's what we had. It wasn't no tsunami. It wasn't a tidal wave. So we don't have that big of a lead. So if she nominates him, he gets voted in. Kamala Harris can't even be vice president. How is she going to be president? She'll step down. It's too much for her. And then you see Gavin Newsom coming in as president. Who could be his vice president? Michelle Obama? And there are enough idiots out there who don't do homework, who don't know enough about California, that he is completely fucked up, that they will be fooled by his charisma. He's a good-looking guy. He speaks very well. He's very eloquent. He's very convincing. You'll see. I remember it was during the sweet and sour sniffles, the pandemic, where he was doing a speech, and there were all these women around him. All these, I don't know if he was at a hospital or what, but all of these people, all these women, the heads of these departments and stuff that were standing up there with him were just mesmerized while he was talking. It's almost if the camera panned down, you would probably see them floating off the ground by like 3 inches. Like they were just floating like, oh, Gavin Newsom, he's so amazing. He's so eloquent. So could that happen? Yeah. Are there enough idiots out there? Yeah. Is there enough corruption out there? Yeah, we've seen it. So that's how Newsom could become president. That's one way. Without one vote being cast by the American people.
Now, and this is what people got to understand. If you are a nice-looking individual, and you got a point, if you suave, or if you real smooth, real suave, smooth as a man, or you a good-looking woman, people always flock the looks. It's been like that since the beginning of time. That's why in Hollywood, if they got that leading man or that leading woman, try to have the best looking one they can find because they know it's gonna gravitate. It's gonna come.
Yeah. How many women out there have been talked out of their chonies? It can happen. And man, it don't take much to talk us into anything if we got a beautiful woman in front of us. Look at California. We elected Arnold Schwarzenegger twice.
Yep.
It's a popularity contest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which I have to admit, he was way better than Newsom.
He had his downfalls. You ask a state worker, they can't stand him. But he was definitely better than Newsom. Definitely.
Yeah, man. For real. Now, the next thing I was going to talk to you about, since we're on the California tip of people, my man Ice Cube. Boy, I think he been hanging out with you, man. What's going on? I think Ice Cube must have made a call to Jericho Green, and he was like, yo, what's going on? What you think? Jericho must have educated my man, because I think, I think Cube been red pill, dog.
Ice Cube, if you're watching, man, holler at your boy. I'll have you on. We can talk. Yeah, man, he's I don't think Ice Cube has changed. I think he's just being more vocal, because there were some things that he said during that Tucker Carlson interview that have been things he's been saying for years. but I think he's just becoming more vocal. He's seeing that things are getting really dangerous, and he's also seeing that the machine that he's contributed to for all these years with his music and his movies will consume him in a second. They will devour him. They will spit his bones out in a second if he doesn't toe the line or he doesn't read from their script. And he's seen that, and it pisses him off. And you can't blame him. Something you've put so much time and effort into, to have it turn around and spit in your face, turn around and take something from you because you don't want to take some experimental shit in your arm. That's not a good feeling. And I think he's pissed. And the saying goes, hell hath no woman, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Well, a man who's been scorned is pretty bad too. So I think that's why Ice Cube is pissed off, and he's seeing that he has support on the other side, and he's seeing that he could still do what he wants to do without that Hollywood machine behind him. So we might see Ice Cube go on a real underground independent tip as far as the entertainment that he puts out, because that's dangerous. He's supposed to be towing the line, especially as a black celebrity. No, you're supposed to be preaching victimhood and the white man, and you're constantly supposed to be bringing up slavery and Jim Crow and all this shit that most of the black folks alive today didn't experience for 1 second. Like the LeBrons of the world, who no matter how much money you have, you still black in America. Well, I'd rather be black in America with $300 million like your bitch ass than not having 300 million like I do now. That's what Cube's supposed to be saying, but he's not. And my dad always told me a man that doesn't care is dangerous. So if he doesn't care about whatever the machine says, the Hollywood machine, or if he doesn't care about the consequences to them, he's very dangerous.
Well, here's the thing. This is what started all this too, and that's why I knew this was coming, because he was vocal on it about 3 weeks before he went to Carson. He said, "I put all of my time and energy in the Baller brand." And if you don't know what the Baller brand is, he has started a three-man team league, where you got a lot of athletes that have retired or, kind of like dropped out the league because they had personal problems. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Drugs, it could have been, family life, whatever. But they got a second chance to be able to show their skills of what people we used to see them in the NBA and actually, get paid for it. And then he was bringing back coaches that people had blackballed out of the NBA, or, they lost their drive to be an NBA coach, to this baller band, big baller brand. And it was successful. People were talking about it until recently after COVID, because he wouldn't take the shot, but started talking about how he had to sit down with Trump, and he inspired Trump to do the platinum plan. Everybody was like, I don't think this is going to work out. Your ratings going down. His ratings never went down. Everybody talked about the baller brand. People were bragging about it on every show. So how in the world can it went down? ESPN talked about it. So I know that was a lie. He knew that was a lie. And then when he went to talk to his old contacts about certain things for advice, they started acting brand new on it, because he started thinking freely. And they really started acting brand new because they got in their feelings because he went to Trump to have that conversation. Like when Steve Harvey did that time, and Steve Harvey had a damn near beg to be from getting canceled. He wouldn't beg. And because of this, that's when we landed where we at with you now. And here's my thought about all this. I heard this black woman on TikTok. Shout out to my boy Black Surf Perspective. He put out that video where she said that, oh my God, we got a culture of Black American men who are now getting suckered in to being conservative. It's a cult. And rah, 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 rah. No, it's not a cult. It's not we get suckered in. It's because we want the things that we were raised on back. We want tradition, family. Jericho, and I ain't trying to get personal, but I want to talk about, I've been in this conservative walk now because you inspired me going on 3 years. Remember, I'll tell you that all the time. You was one of the first people, you and ABL, that I found on YouTube that inspired me to go on this conservative walk. Could change my way of thinking. And I always will be forever in y'all gratitude. You, ABL, and Brandon Taylor. All three of you guys got me on this journey. Y'all was the first three people that I discovered. I just put in one day conservative, black conservative talkers, and I discovered y'all three. And then Black Conservative Perspective came in like 2 weeks later after I started listening to y'all three. And I always seen that you guys never ever made excuses. Y'all always stood on principle of morals and family. And if you do something wrong, it's okay to raise your hand and say, I'm wrong. And learn from it and move forward. So I had this conversation with my cousin. We were raised up together from the same background. Just like you told me how your parents were, two-parent home, family, went to church, all that, had structure. And he tried to tell me that being black in America is oppressive, right? And I'm not gonna say his name because he's my cousin. Thank you, Bob, man, for the $50 super chat. He said from one retired Tech senior chief to two other squids, press on USS Trinity LPD 14. Thank you, brother.
Hey, go
He
look at
tried
that
to tell
shipwreck.
me, yeah, he tried to tell me that he's oppressed. And I said, bro, how can you be oppressed? You live in a very nice place in the United States where it's sunny all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, you are successful. You helped become a co-owner. You was a co-owner of a rental exotic company. You took that money from that exotic company when you cashed out, exercised, did the things that you did, and now you are a professional therapist. Like he's got a certified license to help people rebuild their body from accidents and massages and stuff like that. And you
Mm-hmm.
are also a fitness trainer. And you got your son back as a single father. Tell me how you're not living the American dream.
Yeah.
And if that's oppression, I want all that motherfucker because you got more than what I got going on. Still try to tell me you just don't understand. You just understand. If I make one wrong move, it's over. So no, it's not over, bro. It's not over. If you made one wrong move, you can always say I'm sorry and get a second chance. Do you
Yeah.
understand where you are right now? You're a black man in America. And then I made him mad because I said, bro, I said, guess what? Where you work at right now, and I give an example where I work at. If I go to my boss right now, and my boss is white, and I go to her and say, oh my God, I don't want to work Saturday because I feel like that you're doing this to every black person that's on the schedule, just giving us too many Saturdays. She's gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on, sit down, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's
Calm
let's talk
down.
about this, Joel.
Calm
let's,
down.
let's try to make it right. Because
Yeah.
I'm the new token guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the new victimhood man. And I know it sounds hilarious, but you see how much power you have in that bullshit? It's the other. It's the you know they say the pendulum swings the other way. We're
Yeah.
now in the same position that white folks were back in the early 50s and 30s and 40s when they had problems with us, and they used to say they were going and make a complaint to HR. So where's the oppression at? That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out because guess what? Every time I turn around, people trying to handle me like kid gloves. I'll have to be the one to tell them I'm not trying to oppress you.
Yeah, man.
It's okay. You can
Treat
tell
me
me I'm
normal.
fucked up.
Yeah. Treat me like everybody else. I had
Thank you.
some.
That's what I had to tell my boss lady one time. Like, yo, I'm good, bro. You ain't got to treat me with kid gloves.
No.
I'm not a victim. I
No.
promise you.
We
I come
just
from a
treat me like everybody else. And if I
yeah,
fail, I can live with that. But please don't treat me
exactly.
that. It feels gross. It feels like it leaves
Yeah.
this. It leaves like a residue on you when they do stuff like that. I had something like that happen to me when I worked for this company, and it would deliver beer. So there was a driver room where all the drivers would come back and reconcile all their paperwork, turn in the receipts, blah blah blah, get all this stuff in order. They had like these coolers in there where they had we also sold Arizona iced tea. So all these different flavors of Arizona iced tea, 24-ounce cans. You grab, have as many as you want. They're nice and cold. Great on a hot day. But that's like I said, it's the driver's room. The upper management and stuff, they hardly ever came in there. Sometimes they would transit through there to go to the warehouse, but that was where the drivers and the driver helpers were. Like that was our area. We'd sit around talking shit. You know, it was a bunch of dudes. So there's heavy shit talking, right? And there was a two-way window in the front where the trucks pulled up. So as soon as you pull up, they're already talking shit about you, and you can't even hear them. You're outside. You're already getting roasted inside the driver's room. You didn't even know. So one day, the upper management, he was like, I think he was like the vice president of the company. He was a big dog. And so he came in there and he was hanging out with us, and it was weird. There was this feeling in the room because, you know, the vice president of the company's in there. We can't be ourselves. So one of the other salesmen was telling me, hey, I was talking to so-and-so over at, you know, blah, blah, blah liquor store. And they said that you did a great job and all this stuff. I was like, all right, cool. So he chimes in and he goes, yeah, probably because you guys look like cousins. Because the guy, he was an Indian dude, so he was dark skinned. So he's trying to make a joke. That was him trying to fit in with us. And because of who I was, you know, I'm pretty quick witted. I could have dropped a bomb on his ass and had the whole room just dying. You know, there's like 15 dudes in there. They would have been dying. But that would have made it weird for me because that's my boss. I don't want him to take it out on me and shit. So I just took that, right? I let him have it, and people were like, it was more awkward than funny because of who he was. And so I let a few minutes go by, and I walked into his office, and I sat down. And I said, hey, I didn't appreciate you coming out there and saying that. And I said, it wasn't what you said because it wasn't even that good. It wasn't even that funny, but it's because of you, who you are. You're the vice president. I can't roast you like another driver because of your position, you know. And I'm glad I did it because I took the higher road that time. And he goes, well, I thank you. I appreciate that. He's like, thank you for coming to me and talking to me about it. I really appreciate you doing that. And I'm sorry that I said that. I was all right, cool. So the next day I get in at the end of the day and he calls me in his office. I said, hey, what's going on? And he says, hey, I got these 4 extra tickets to the Giants game tonight. They're right behind home plate. Could you use them? And I was like, and I don't give a shit about baseball. To this day, I don't even watch baseball, but hey, if I got some good tickets, I would go, but I'm not a baseball fan, but I knew somebody who was a diehard. So I was like, yeah, I'll take them. And so I ended up selling them to the dude. But, you know, he was very glad that I didn't go above his head, that I didn't take it to HR, because that would have been a slam dunk for him. But we yield a certain power, you know, as people of color, you know, as the left says, especially as black folks, that these companies are walking on eggshells, and to think that it could all go away with one mistake. Well, that's pretty true for anybody, depending on the level of mistake you make. You know, it's not like, oh man, I get a jaywalking ticket. It's all going to come crashing down. No. But if you do something stupid, that goes for anybody. Anybody can have it all taken away with one mistake if it's big enough. But why would you want to stress yourself out with that mentality? Why wouldn't you want to believe that I'm the same as everybody else? I don't believe anyone's superior to me. I don't believe that anyone has control over my life or can stop me from doing something because of what color container I come in. I didn't pick this. I wasn't walking around through the cosmos going, yeah, I want that person and that person to get together and make me. This is who I am. That's why it's so unimportant, because we're all the same in that way. None of us chose this. So it's not special. We're all in the same boat. None of us can choose what race we are. So when people put that to the forefront, this is just the container. That's it. No one's a certain way because of what color they are. It's all about your environment and how you were raised. And for people to get stuck on that, why stress yourself out? Why go around thinking you're not as good as a white counterpart?
Exactly. And I think that goes, like you just said, it goes back to the liberal mindset. Shout out to Malcolm X. That's why I know a lot of people say Malcolm X was very racial. He didn't like white folks. I say to a degree at first, but then at the end he started realizing what Mecca really meant. but he said some very positive things even in the end, and he always stuck to that. Don't trust white liberals because he ain't lying. Because they want Black Americans to feel like they are less than.
Yeah,
And
your
speaking of
children.
yep. And speaking of Black Americans, Jamie Foxx went from being prayed for. I'm talking about liberals were on their knees saying, "Pray for Jamie, Lord. Look
Mm-hmm.
after Brother Jamie." All this, that, and the third. They was doing a little shout when he got back talking and saying he's good. That he said one thing about they killed Jesus, and all of a sudden it's anti-Semitic. Jericho, how do we get how do old sayings from Black folks, man? They killed Jesus. They talked about Jesus. Is now anti-Semitic. Me and you heard this. I don't know if you got. Well, I don't know if you got family from down south. Or if
I
you
do.
do, you go okay. So you know, Southern folks use this term heavily down south, man. Baby, they talked about Jesus. Baby, they killed Jesus. So if you got family from the South or the Midwest, that's something that they always said. So when is what? When is this considered to be anti-Semitic? It ain't got nothing to do with Jewish people didn't even kill Jesus.
He or they or he, Jamie Foxx, he should have explained that and not had it with an apology. It's okay to explain stuff like, no, that's not what I meant. This is what I meant. This is something that I've always said or whatever. Explain what it is. Educate people. But to apologize, you apologized that you're admitting wrong. You're saying that what you said was anti-Semitic. If it wasn't, you should have said that's not what I meant. This is something we always say or something I grew up saying, whatever. Explain what it is, but don't apologize. By apologizing, you've allowed the left to, and maybe they had it on him before. Maybe Jamie Foxx, they had him on the leash before, but you've allowed them to put the leash around your neck, the collar around your neck, and then attach a leash to it. Now you belong to them. You've apologized. You've, how Dracula made Igor his assistant. He made him drink his blood, so he was one of the undead. That's what you just did, Jamie Foxx. You just drank the blood. Now you're theirs. You're their servant for life. You're their Igor now. You will go throughout the earth and do whatever they tell you while they slumber because you apologized, man. That's the worst thing you could do. That is the worst thing you could do. Here, let me tuck my package for you. Let me tuck it in so nobody can see it because I don't need him anymore. Jamie Foxx is a eunuch now.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing that upsets me about what Jamie Foxx did on this situation, bro. Is and everything else, and what all of them do is, if that's the case, I hate for Tyler Perry to make any more new Black Hood movies now because I heard that saying in one of his movies and played. So you're trying to tell me now he anti-Semitic too? If that's the case, if I was Tyler Perry, don't do no more plays, no more Black folks, buddy. You need to change your tune up. You need to do some kind of soap opera, something else.
I'll tell you this, man. One thing Tyler Perry does do, he employs every Black actor in Hollywood because when he does one of those family reunion movies or some shit like that where it's a big cast, man, he got everybody, all the Black actors from the 90s and the early 2000s are employed because of Tyler Perry. He has like Shamar Moore and Morris Chestnut, like those dudes in his movies. So he does employ some Black actors, man. But yeah, all those Southern sayings are out the window because they're going to offend somebody and they'll somehow tether, anti-Semitism to it.
Well, Jericho, after what happened, during the pandemic, actually last year, Tyler Perry tried to talk. I wouldn't even say he tried to talk red pillish. I want to say he tried to talk libertarian, like trying to balance in between. about let's stop all this division of Republican this, Democrat that. He kind of got a little tiny bit of backlash, and after that, he shut up and never talked about that stuff no more. So that should tell you right then and there how much control uh these people have, in Hollywood in these circles. All right, I know it's get about time for you to go, but we're hitting on that hour point. We got one more thing I was going to ask you about tonight. Uh, shoot. Yeah, that's what it is. The Lizzo situation. That's what it was. So,
Banana Gate.
yeah, Banana Gate. So, Lizzo currently is under fire. There are a lot of dancers, female dancers, that said that Lizzo would make them do some very disgusting stuff, like touch her in places that was very disgusting. Go to strip clubs. She would take their job or whatever when they was overseas performing, and there was one that had a little shaky story, but the rest of them stories from the other girls sounded pretty legit.
Yeah,
So
pretty
now,
horrible.
yeah, now her people, celebrities are coming out trying to defend Lizzo, saying that this is all a conspiracy. They're lying. They're trying to hurt her. But here's my thing about this double standard uh, that's going on with that, Jericho. We know if it was someone else that was not a part of the Alphabet Soup Club, okay, and if this was a man that was the size of Lizzo, and he had male dancers made these accusations against him, we already know that he would be shut down. There would be what they call that thing, sponsors left
Yeah.
and right out saying they're not dealing with this until it's fully investigated. They would be their tour would stop. Nobody would not want them in their cities. Everything would stop right then. So to me, this is why I say this is such a sick double standard, because what happens if more women come forward? Because I got a feeling there's going to be more women coming forward, because it always happens. It starts out with 4 and 5, and then it jumps up to 20 and 30. So what are we going to do then, Alphabet Soup Club, when 20 or 30 of these women describe the same thing about she's hard to work with, she likes to belittle people and do fat shaming, which I don't know why she fat shaming somebody, because Lizzo, you take up both sides of the freaking page, okay? I ain't got nothing against big women because I'm into BBWs, my wife's BBW, but you're a barrel. You ain't got no figure, no shape, no nothing. You're a blob. Why are you trying to fat shame somebody? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
She's gonna go the way of Ellen DeGeneres, because remember when it came out that she was an asshole to her staff and stuff, that was the beginning of the end for Ellen
Mm-hmm.
DeGeneres. So I saw the interview with these three women. They all seem pretty credible. They're all telling disgusting stories, and it has to do with their religion. They were against it. It was because of their religious beliefs. She had these women eating bananas out of strippers' vaginas in Amsterdam. I wouldn't recommend that for men. Now
Yeah.
they're gonna do it anyway, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
So of course these women didn't want to do it. One woman was on stage so long she was told if she got off the stage that she would get fired, so she pissed herself on stage. They're catching dildos that are shot out of women's vaginas in strip clubs
Oh,
like ping
God.
pong balls. That is disgusting. So what's going to happen is they're going to subpoena these women to come testify and tell their story, and their stories are going to be just like the three plaintiff stories. And like you said, those are
Mm-hmm.
going to stack up. It's going to turn into 24, 48 of them saying the same exact thing, and that's it for Lizzo. Because she's so anti-bullying and body positivity, but you're not like that in real life. You're just talking that shit. You don't
Mm-hmm.
believe that. All and she had some over emotional crocodile tear bullshit video. Oh, and the people. She wasn't even really crying. Terrible actress.
I've seen that bullshit.
Yeah, she's full of shit. So this is the beginning of the end for Lizzo. So what Lizzo needs to do is get out there, book as many shows as you can, try to get those overseas venues and fill up those soccer stadiums because it's going to be over. Because the cat is out of the bag. Toto has gone over there and pulled the curtain back. We see who you really are, and you're full of shit. You're full of more shit than a Christmas turkey. You're talking all that shit, all this alphabet soup group, blah, 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 accept everybody, big girls, and all this bullshit. And it turns out you're meaner to them than any regular person is. Regular people aren't mean to people because of what they look like, but she was. Had those girls eating bananas out of vaginas. Ew.
Man, when you got a woman that size, okay, barrel, there ain't no shape, because there's a difference between Coke shape. So I see some big women that got a figure, and you be like, okay, girl, go ahead on with your big girl self. But when you straight barrel?
No, she's shaped like chocolate soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, and you wearing G-strings to a freaking basketball event?
No, I'm cool.
And got the nerve to say, I'm going to shake it. No, I know you crazy. I know you treat people fucked up. Because anybody in their right mind is not going to wear a G-string looking like a barrel on the open to a basketball game. I don't give a damn how much confidence you got.
Nope.
Nobody doing that. That's worse than a man with a hairy ass doing that for Pride Week. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, that's just disgusting. Or shaking your ass in some tidy whities in front of kids. But for some reason, there's 30 days out of the year where that's completely okay. Any other day, that's a crime.
I see a career over, bro. I mean, I don't see her getting out of it because too many people are going to start coming forward. Only way she's going to make this go away, she's going to break out some money quick. And then that's if she got a good lawyer.
I don't know. It's all about damage control. You know, can she put some damage control out there to try to stop or at least combat the testimonies that are going to be coming out, the other dancers that are going to be coming forward. And like I said, I saw the interview. Those girls, they seemed like they weren't lying. They seemed like they were telling the truth. All their stories are the same. And they even said that all the other dancers were there. So right there, all the other dancers saw what was going on and saw one girl said she got up in her face and had to be restrained from beating her up, threatened her. That doesn't sound very good. That sounds like a bully. That sounds like she's using her position of authority and power to wield it against her staff. That's a bullying. If that was a corporate situation and you took everybody out to eat, next thing you know, some woman shooting bananas or somebody's down there biting a banana out of some stripper's vagina, we're all going to HR in the morning. And whoever's in charge, you're fired, right? But for some reason, and they live in these echo chambers. Everybody around them is telling them what they're saying is great, telling them that they're this monumental figure in public life, and they're doing all these things, and no one's telling them no, and all the crazy shit in their head is being affirmed. So she thought, she was a little dictator, in Lizzo world.
Yeah, you know what Lizzo need to do? She need to get in touch with Usher. She better do what Usher did. Usher hurried up and paid them people. He didn't pay that man off he messed with.
Yeah. If she can keep him from talking, that's the only thing. If she can keep them from talking, that's going to take some serious money. That might break her. I don't know what Lizzo's working with. I don't know her net worth. Let's find out Lizzo's net worth. But
she about 10 million.
That's a lot. Can you pay off that many people with 40 million?
Oh, she 40 million. She was 10 million last year. So she done jumped up to 40 million. She might can do it.
40 million. But that's how many dancers she got? 10? It was just the dancers, was the other staff too? So what, 10 to 20 people? How much they want to get broke off? What if they all want $1 million apiece?
Yeah, just give them $1 million apiece. She can afford it. She'll reback up, bro.
That's half of her net worth.
She part of the Alphabet Club. They'll help her get it. They'll help her get back up, man. Lizzo is their golden child right now. That's their spokesperson.
I don't know. She's looking tarnished.
Lizzo hits all of the check boxes. Okay, she's overweight. She's black. She's angry. She's a victim. Now she's part of this scandal. Then they're gonna say she rises above it like the phoenix. They're gonna blame it on mental health. I'm telling you, dude, that's what's
They're
gonna
gonna
happen.
try. They're gonna try, but this will be a real litmus test for the racism left in America, as they say, because a beloved white woman, Ellen DeGeneres, who was in the Alphabet Soup group, she couldn't survive it. So can a black woman survive what a white woman couldn't in America today? We're gonna
No,
find
you
out.
know she a bad. Come on, bro. Ellen DeGeneres didn't have enough. She didn't check the boxes. You know what
But
I'm saying?
she got don't know she didn't check as many boxes, but the box that she checked, being in the Alphabet Soup group, is that carries a lot of currency.
Yeah, it did. It carried a good bit, but it wasn't enough. But Lizzo gonna be all right, man. If she pay him off real quick. That what a lawyer probably done told her. Probably done took her out to lunch this weekend, the biggest buffet they
Oh,
could find.
and Ellen,
Gave her
she's
a
worth
banana.
see Ellen's worth 370 million, so she could pay those people off easy. She's like almost 10 times the money that Lizzo has. So I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens with old Lizzo, but we're gonna
She can
test
always
her.
call up Ellen. Ellen's her buddy. You know,
Hey,
Ellen might loan her the money.
we are gonna test the layers of victimhood that she hides underneath. Their integrity is going to be tested right now. We're going to see what kind of storm she can weather.
All right. So before I leave, I'm going to give a shout out to the people that donated tonight on the super chats because I don't want nobody to say, "Man, I was on this super chat and you didn't." You didn't. Yeah, I'm going to tell everybody that I'm going to make sure everybody right quick get notified. I'm looking at it right now. So shout out to Bob for the $50 super chat. Thank you very much. Shout out to Anthony McQuaid for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Chewy Pretzel for being a new member of the Team Patriot. I appreciate you. Shout out to Atomic Tabasco for the $10 super chat. He said two of my favorite YouTube Patriots. Shout out to John Pearson for the $10 super chat, a little token from Nashville. Shout out to Lisa White for the $9.99 super chat support. Keep up the good work. And Bob from earlier again, thank you for the $10 super chat. Fuck that. Let's support this man with money. So again, I appreciate everybody with the super chats, man. Like my boy uh Jericho and me have been saying before, for us as content creators to live out our dreams and to do this every day for you guys, we gotta get the support. When we ask y'all for a super
Yeah.
chat, when we ask you guys for a cash app or a PayPal or to send us through the mail, whether it's directly with our PO box or our personal address of our business, it's not because we're doing it to try to be shady. We're doing this because this is how we are able to give you what you want as our fans and our audience. So it's not being wasted. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention too, the merch is very important. You know, always support us with the merch, man, because that helps us become more creative. That helps us get out there and talk to our creative people that's with us so we can keep you guys smiling from ear to ear. So when they see that creative shirt where it says Jericho Green or with Jericho Green's face on it or my Joel Davis Media Network with my vibrant colors and my face under it, they'll be like, who the fuck is that? You'd be like, go on
Yeah.
YouTube or go on Rumble and this is who and listen to that stuff. So guys, again, that's how you do it. That's how you support anybody that you believe in that's spreading nothing but truth. Again, thank y'all very much for the anniversary wishes as well. Don't worry, me and Jericho will be back together again. It will not be this long, I promise you that. I'm gonna try to have him on the show next before the end of this month again on a Saturday where we talking nothing but good shit. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We love you guys. Take care of yourself and each other. Me and Jericho be out this bitch.